Hey everybody, how's it going? In this video, we will be discussing about validity rules for different fields. So one of the big issues with Airtable is that given that it is a database, in this case, a relational database, whilst working on the database itself, we cannot set validity rules to our input to the corresponding field. So for instance, let's get this record right here. If we go to the date field, there is no way for us, neither here nor here, to set specific rules for conditions or rules such as, hey, date cannot be before and or after than this or that date, meaning that I can input whichever date and the field will be filled out anyways, right? Without any warning that that cannot be done. You could have a workaround where you have either an additional field or on any given existing field, some sort of red emoji popping up if the date filled out does not meet the rules or criteria that you need. However, you will still be able to input whichever date you want right here. But there is a way in which we can handle this via interfaces. And by interfaces, I do not mean any page within the interface, because for instance, this is a given page within our interface, right? Where we have the corresponding field right here. Now, if I edit the page, I cannot play around with the conditions in any way, meaning that once again, from this interface, I can definitely choose whichever date, right? However, this is not the case if we work with forms on interfaces. Take a look at the following. So right here, we have a section for keeping track of investor updates, right? If I click on new update, a form will pop up, which has a given date field. Now take a look at the following. For sure, if I do not set any conditions, I can set absolutely any date and I can type whatever I want here, right? Without minimum amount of characters that I could use, nor maximum, so on and so forth, meaning no validity rules, basically. However, if we go to edit pages and we go to the corresponding form, by clicking there, we can now make updates or changes to this form, right? Now, if I click on the date field, you'll see right here on the bottom, under rules on the right margin, how I can, for instance, make it required, which is something that I cannot do at a database layer, right? Let's leave it optional for the time being, and I can set a range limit. This right here, if I toggle it on, that will work as a validity rule, meaning, hey, only allow me to input a date which is minimum, meaning the date should be at least the current date, meaning today, or a given specific date, right? For the time being, I cannot make this dynamic, meaning I cannot reference a different date in a different part of our system or base, but I can set either a hard-coded date or current date, right? And the same can be done for maximum, right? So I could say maximum date, let's say something like June the 30th. That's fine. So it's minimum current date, maximum June the 30th. Now for nodes, I can also set some sort of validity rules where I can say, hey, I can also say whether it's required or non-required, but I could go one layer deeper and I can say, hey, minimum and maximum amount of characters, right? You've seen this probably in other form providers, and you can only input numbers right here, such as minimum of 100. If you type letters, that's definitely invalid, right? So I can say minimum 10, no maximum, and we have our validity for the date field. Let's publish. Now, if I go to the corresponding form, I cannot select, as you can see, a date before current date being the 12th in this case, and I can definitely select bigger dates or future dates. Here, as long as I input minimum of 10 characters, that will work. So I can now submit the form and that will be working. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video, and that's how you set validity rules for your fields in Airtable.